This is a T-type foundation, called such because it's kind of shaped like a T. This particular foundation has poured concrete stem walls with a wood subfloor system, okay, that sits on top of the stem walls. And just kind of going over the document here, first thing you want to do is set up your borders. Because this is a smaller sheet of paper, I'm only using 1/8 of an inch borders. So measure 1/8 of an inch from the edge of your paper all the way around and create those borders. And then down here for the title block, instead of 2 inches like it was on the last document we did, this one is only going to be 1 inch between here and there. Okay, and then each one of these cells is going to be 1/4 of an inch. And of course I do need to do some cleaning up in there. And your lettering on all of this is going to be 1/8 of an inch, with the exception of that right there, which is 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so anyway, I can clean that up more later. Everything here, your name, the assignment name, which here is going to be called T-type foundation, the date, whatever date it is that you're drawing it, and then scale. This is something new that you haven't seen. Typically I've been writing scale up in the corner, which is one thing you can do on some drawings, but on this drawing I want you to put scale right here. Scale equals 1 1/2 inch equals a foot. Or actually that should be scale colon 1 1/2 inches equals 1 foot. And that is basically the 1 1/2 inch scale that I'm using. I'm not using the 1/2 inch scale or the 1/4 inch scale or anything like that. I'm using 1 1/2 inch scale. And I don't have my scale up. There it is. So it's a little bit bigger scale, good for drawing details. But basically it's the 1 1/2 inch side here, and every mark on here, you know, these are your inches. That basically equals a foot right there, and those are the inches between that foot. And then here's 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, and on and on. Starting at the top of the document, you see some of the things that I've drawn here. I've drawn the outside exterior finish of the wall, the siding, and of course that's not 100% necessary. It just kind of shows a relationship between the foundation and what you would actually see as far as how everything else mounts to it. This layer right here with the X's through it, that is my plywood sheathing. It is 3/4 inch plywood. It's called sheathing. I have the same 3/4 inch plywood down here, which is called subfloor in this case because it's laying flat on the joist section. Some people call it a decking, but typically that's for the roof. But anyway, I don't mean to confuse you. This right here is a 2x4 stud 2x4 nominal. What does nominal mean? Nominal means in name only. The actual size of structural lumber is 1/2 inch smaller than nominal. Okay, so actual for a 2x4 is 2x4 actual equals 1 1/2 inch by 3 1/2 inches. Okay, so that's basically what I measured here was 3 1/2 inches. This larger measurement right there. 3 1/2 inches, and the same here. This is also a 2x4, but it's kind of laying flat on the surface, and what you see here with the X is the cut end of that 2x4. Okay, so all that together actually goes together and makes my wall framing. Subfloor, again, right here, 3/4 inch plywood. This is actually called the seal plate right there, seal plate. These are my rim joists. This goes all the way around the foundation of the home. This is kind of what holds the floor up and holds the home up. It puts the home on top of the stem walls. And these rim joists are made of 2x6 nominal lumber. Okay, and also this is all going to, or especially this is going to be pressure treated lumber here, and typically the seal plate right there is also going to be pressure treated lumber. This is not. This is going to be regular everyday lumber. Okay. But anyway, again, 2x6, so it's actually 1 1/2 by 5 1/2 inches. So I drew this at 5 1/2 inches like this. It's 5 1/2 inches wide that way. Coming on down, let's see, I've got my crawl space, which is an 18-inch minimum. Okay, and actually this crawl space I have drawn all the way down to the frost line, which is in this case is 18, or no, not 18 inches, a little bit shallower than that. But basically what you want to do with the frost line is you need to make sure your footings are below whatever is recommended for the area that you're building in. You know, different areas around the country will have different levels of frost line. So I just kind of drew this for looks. I didn't draw it to any specific measurement. But the footing needs to be 6 inches below that frost line right here. And then, of course, this is concrete. This is poured concrete footing. This is a poured concrete stem wall. This is the grade. This means this is the earth right here, all up under here. And of course, the crawl space is dug out at a lower level. It's dug out all the way down to the frost line. And of course, the length of this varies. It depends on, again, where you're building it at. But for this exercise, just go ahead and draw that stem wall. Let's see, I don't even remember what I drew it. Looks like I drew it about I drew that about 18 inches as well. Did I? No, I didn't draw that. No, I didn't draw that 18 inches. No, I drew it 2 foot. Okay, that's 2 feet right here. Stem wall. So just draw your stem wall 2 foot long. Crawl space, termite shield. We have to have a termite shield. It's definitely recommended on most structures. This one probably should come out here a little bit as well. But what the termite shield does, it is a metal flashing type of shield, sheet metal, and it keeps termites from tunneling up and then into the wood of your house. So they can tunnel up here, and then of course all of a sudden they're blocked and they can't go anywhere. So that's a preventative measure to keep termites from eating up your house. What else? So frost line keyway right here in the footing. That's cut into the footing, or it's actually molded into the footing, and that just kind of helps keep everything stable. Once you pour the stem wall into the footing, it keeps the house from shifting back and forth, especially if the land tends to shift at times. The footing itself is 16 inches wide by 6 inches tall. Okay, and that is going to be specified. Now this is just typical right here. This will actually be specified by an engineer. So someone's going to come out and look at the soil of a where there's going to be a building, and they will determine from a little bit of research they do there of what the footing should be. And a lot of times they'll go ahead and determine the actual depth as well. The stem wall, I did not write this on here. I should have to show you, but it's 8 inches. So I'm just going to jot that down here. I'm going to go back and fix that to where it's more like my architectural lettering. But it's 8 inches wide. The rule of thumb here is that the stem wall is always half of the footing. Okay, so if the footing is 16 inches wide, the stem wall is going to be 8 inches wide. And that's just rule of thumb. However, your engineer may specify something different. They may specify 9 or a 10-inch stem wall, depending on the soil conditions. Okay, I think I covered everything here. Your title block is 1 inch with each one of these a 1/4 inch, and this is a 1/4 inch lettering for this. This is 8-inch lettering here. All of this in here is 1/8 inch lettering. Make sure you have your leaders and everything like that drawn as well, pointing to whatever it is you're talking about with this, such as the keyway here. I'm pointing to the keyway. Footing, pointing to the footing. Remember too, on your leaders, you got to have a 45-degree and then of course a straight. That is just to keep them from getting confused with other geometric lines, especially the object lines and stuff like that. What else? I think I do have everything. You're going to write everything just like this on the paper. Now when it comes to where are you going to draw this on the paper, well, kind of centered like I got it right here, and you have to kind of look and estimate. You want there to be some space between the object and the border, just like over here. And of course here, it leaves room for other note-taking and things like that, my dimensions and what have you. But if you have to have a dimension to go off of, let's say, let me find the regular inch ruler here. Let's say you start your drawing, the footing, basically the edge of the footing should be about 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch away from the left side over there. Same for the top. Just kind of think 3/4 to an inch or 1 inch. If it's easier to keep that in your head, have 1 inch between your border and where you start drawing. Okay, now I do still have some work to do with this, and I'll show you a picture of that when I'm done at the end here. And I have to do some shading or some texturizing. I have to there's a special shading that we use for concrete and earth. Those are about the only two. And of course plywood, you see the plywood is that little X pattern going all the way through it there. But I'll come back and show you what that looks like when we're done. Okay, now here is the finished product. You have to make sure that when you do your hatching, shading, texturing, here that you go back and make sure you didn't cover up any of your words or important lines. And actually I see one that I missed. This is my leader that I kind of camouflaged here. So you want to go back, kind of erase around that so they can see that it is actually a leader. All right, same right here where I got too close to the object, my footing and the dimension line. Okay, so erase all that stuff there. All right, so that that can all be plainly read. But this represents Earth, just kind of a hatching, a vertical slash horizontal, and you can see how it alternates back and forth in little half-inch segments. So you know each one of these segments are about a half an inch, and then about 4 to 5 lines are drawn either vertically or horizontally. And then of course the concrete is little triangles with little straight hatch lines here and there randomly placed, and then dots randomly placed. So that's how we are going to shade our concrete or hatch our concrete. Okay, so this is the finished product. I will go over some more video on how to actually draw this and what to do. Oh, one other thing I forgot to point out, these are break lines. Okay, so basically wherever your drawing breaks off, and it's just to tell the person looking at it that there's actually more stuff that continues over here, but you just didn't draw that. And you know, it's real simple. It's just kind of a line through here, 45 here, straight here, 45 there, kind of a little lightning bolt or zigzag or something like that that you have in there. So anyway, the next video I'll show you on how some of this is actually carried out.